Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to another episode on Northwoods Exploration. As always, my name is Jeremy. And in today's episode, we are going to discuss 5 things that you need to know if you are thinking about purchasing a Glock pistol. Let's get to it, guys. All right, guys, so as I said, today we are going to discuss 5 things that you need to know if you're thinking about purchasing a Glock pistol. Now, for those of you that know a lot about Glocks and have a lot of experience with Glocks, then maybe this isn't the video for you. However, over the last few years, there have been over 5 million new gun owners in the United States. And so I think it's important to make videos like these because, yes, Glocks are some of the most popular pistols in the U.S., if not the most popular pistol in the United States. But a lot of times what happens is you have someone who's not really experienced with firearms. They ask their buddy, hey, what should I get? And they say, oh man, go get a Glock 19 or go get a Glock 17 or a Glock whatever model number you want to throw in that blank. And then they go and get it and it doesn't really work for them. And the reason it doesn't work for them is because they don't know what to expect going into the purchase. And so I wanted to make this video talking about 5 things that you need to know if you're thinking about purchasing a Glock pistol. And the number one thing you need to know if you're thinking about purchasing a Glock pistol is that Glocks are not perfect. Glocks are not perfect. You hear all the time the slogan, Glock perfection. Well, I hate to break it to some folks, but Glocks are not perfect. For example, they definitely do not have perfect triggers. They have a 5.5 pound trigger pull on average, but that trigger is not the best trigger I've ever shot. The best trigger I've ever shot is kind of a tie between a SIG P365 and a Colt 1911. Those two guns have exceptionally better triggers than any of the Glocks that I have ever shot. Another aspect of Glocks that are not perfect are their sights. The standard sights that come on Glock pistols are not really all that great, frankly. And then also you got to think about the ergonomics, and I'll give you a good example of this. So the 2 Glocks I'm going to show you guys today are a Glock 19 and a Glock 17. Both of these Glocks are unloaded. There's actually no mag even in the mag well. Completely unloaded. So that's my disclaimer for all you, armchair range safety officers. So yes, both these Glocks are completely unloaded. No mags in them at all. And so, anyway, yeah, so when I talk about the ergonomics, so this is a Glock 19, this is a Glock 17. On the Glock 19, this is a Gen 3, and you can see the finger grooves that are here on the Generation 3. This is a Glock 17, this is a Gen 5, and you see how they are no longer there. Now, some people like the finger grooves, some don't. Some people like the expandable back straps. For example, on the Glock 19, this is the standard back strap. This did not have the ability to add a new back strap. However, I actually did put the beaver tail back strap on this Glock 17 because it fits better in my hand with that on there than just the standard back strap that comes with it. The bottom line is these pistols, folks, are not perfect. There might be some alterations that you have to make where I don't suggest trigger jobs just because you get an overzealous DA and that can end up pretty bad for you. But as far as like the sights and the ergonomics, it's not always perfect for every single person. So number one thing you need to know if you're thinking about purchasing a Glock pistol is that Glocks are not perfect. Number 2 thing you need to know if you're considering purchasing a Glock pistol is that Glocks do not have manual safeties. Glocks do not have manual safeties. Now, technically, do Glocks have safeties? Yes. We'll go back to, for example, the Glock 17. I actually have the trigger pulled here. No mag in the mag well. So I'll try to get this on camera, but basically what you have here is inside of here, there's a little bitty place that you push in, and that's supposed to be your safety. That's it. So you have to push this in as well as the trigger itself for it to fire. Now, that's not a manual safety. And if you're off-body carrying and something gets snagged around that trigger, it's going to go off. That is not a manual safety. In fact, I will admit, I only own one gun that has a manual safety, and that's for a particular reason. I personally don't really care for manual safeties, but I also have over 20 years experience with firearms. If you're starting out, maybe a manual safety is great for you. Maybe you've been handling firearms for 50 years. Maybe a manual safety is great for you. I do think primarily it comes down, whether you want one or not, will probably come down to how much experience and training you have, but I'm not really dogmatic about this either way. You've got to do what's right for you. So when it comes to manual safety, you just need to have the expectation that Glocks do not have manual safeties. Contrary to what the first Ant-Man movie would have you believe, Glocks do not have external hammers, nor do they have external manual safeties. So, number 3. The number 3 thing you need to know if you are purchasing a Glock pistol is that the model numbers have nothing to do at all with the caliber that it's chambered in. It has nothing to do with the caliber whatsoever. If you walk up to someone and say, man, I just bought a Glock 45, you didn't tell them that you just bought a Glock 21 chambered in 45 ACP. You just told them that you bought a Glock model number 45 chambered in 9mm. You go up to someone and say, man, I just bought a Glock 22. No, you didn't buy a Glock 44 chambered in 22 long rifle. No, you bought a Glock model number 22 that's going to be chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson. This is something that baffles me. It baffles a lot of people, but the model number corresponds to, it has nothing to do. I'll just put it frankly, it has nothing to do with the caliber at all. It doesn't correspond to the caliber in any shape, form, or fashion. A Glock 17 is in 9mm. A Glock 19 is the compact version of that in 9mm. You have the Glock 20, which is a 10mm. Glock 21, that's a 45 ACP. You have a Glock 22 that is in 40 Smith & Wesson. I could go on and on and on. But you need to understand, if you go up and tell someone that you bought a Glock 45, you're not telling them that you bought a Glock chambered in 45 ACP. You're telling them that you bought a 9mm simply because the model numbers have absolutely nothing to do with the caliber. And this leads us to number 4. The number 4 thing that you need to know if you're thinking about purchasing a Glock pistol, and that is that you can keep it all in the family. You can keep it all in the family. You say, well, what do you mean exactly? You mean it's like an heirloom? You pass it down? No. That's not what I mean at all. What I mean is that the magazine for my Glock 17 will actually fit inside of my Glock 19. When you purchase Glock pistols, and if you like Glocks, you will probably purchase another one. My recommendation is not to purchase a different caliber. If you purchase the full-size 9mm, the Glock 17, and you want to buy another Glock later, I don't suggest buying another caliber. Buy a Glock 19. It's the compact version. You can use the Glock 17 mags in the Glock 19. And you can even go to the subcompact, which I don't have this firearm here, but the Glock 26, which is the subcompact version. The Glock 17 and the Glock 19 mags fit in it. And as an old deputy friend of mine once told me, he said, whatever you're going to carry as a backup gun should be able to take the mags from your primary duty weapon. And I think this concept also applies to anyone that is going to conceal carry. If you're going to carry a backup gun, It's best, if you're going to carry a Glock 17 or a Glock 19, your backup gun should probably be a Glock 26, because that's going to actually take the Glock 17 or the Glock 19 mags in it. So you can keep it all in the family. And this comes in handy, folks. It comes in handy, especially if you're going to travel. Sometimes you want a full-size firearm. Sometimes you want a compact or a subcompact. Either way, you have a modular system, if you will, for being able to carry and really fit whatever concealed carry need you're going to have. So, number 4, you can keep it all in the family. And this leads us to number 5. Number 5, you've got to do what's best for you. You've got to pick a firearm that's going to work for you. And that's really the bottom line. Do I like Glocks? Yes, I like Glocks. Am I a Glock apologist? Not in the least. I had a buddy of mine that we were shooting single stack 9s at the shooting range one time, and he had his SIG P365. I had my Glock 43X, and I'll tell you, the trigger pull on that SIG P365 put my 43X to shame. You pick up a 1911 and shoot that versus pick up a Glock 21 and 45. It's no comparison. That 1911 is going to have a better trigger pull. The thing is, you might want a better trigger pull. You might want better sights. You might want better ergonomics. Being new to guns, you may want an external safety, a manual safety on your firearm. Like I said, you may have handled firearms for 50 years and you may still want an external safety. I'm not dogmatic about it one way or the other. All I'm saying is your expectation of the firearm and what you're going to need is up to you and your situations, your needs, what you excel at, what your weaknesses are, etc. And so, something as simple as where you live. If you're in an urban area, yeah, you might want something like a Glock 19 or a Glock 17. Or if you're going to be in the woods more, you want something that's going to be a little bit beefier. Maybe a, Glock 22 in 40 Smith & Wesson, or a Glock 20 in 10 millimeter, or a Glock 21 in 45 ACP, etc. There's so many different variants and situational issues that come up. You can't take someone else's advice. You have to do your homework. You have to find what you like, and that's what you have to go for. I was watching this channel on YouTube called God Family Guns. He was talking to a gun shop owner, and he asked her, what is the most returned pistol from 2020? And I wasn't too surprised when I heard that it was a Glock 19. It's not that the Glock 19 is a bad gun. I love my Glock 19. I still carry my Glock 19. It's not that it's a bad gun, but it didn't fit the need for many people. It didn't fit the need. It didn't fit their expectations. A purchase of a firearm should not be down up to, your buddy's advice or your coworker's advice or some cop friend of yours that you talk to, because everybody's situation is different. So in the end, when it comes down to it, it's really up to your preference and what your expectation is, what your comfort level is, what your training level it is. And I could go on and on and on about different variables, but it's ultimately up to you and what you want and what you expect. So, what are the 5 things you need to know? Number 1, if you're going to purchase a Glock, understand that Glocks are not perfect. Number 2, Glocks do not have manual safeties. Number 3, the model numbers do not correlate to the calibers in any shape, form, or fashion. Number 4, you can keep it all in the family. Glock has a modular system where you can buy the full size, and the mags in the full size will also fit in the compact and subcompact most of the time. You have to look at the model numbers and see what your full size pistol or your compact or subcompact correlates. You can keep it in that family, gives you greater flexibility with what you need. And then finally, number 5, it's really up to your preferences and your expectation and training and comfort level as to what you're going to purchase. Don't let anyone tell you different. Don't let anyone pressure you into buying a Glock because they say it's perfect or it's great. It's great for them, but it might not be great, and it might not be what you need in your particular situation. So with that, this is going to bring our video to a close. I hope that this has been helpful. If you enjoyed the video, give us a like. Also, hit the subscription button below. Keep subscribing to the channel, and thank you for all you guys that have been subscribing over the last couple months. We've seen quite a bit of growth on the channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Make sure you're receiving notifications. That way, when I upload a new video, you don't miss it, and you can be the first to see it. Also, guys, keep the comments coming. I want a lot of dialogue, and I figure this topic will generate a lot of dialogue. Obviously, keep it kind, keep it nice. But, I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts? What did I leave out? What would you have included? So let me hear from you guys. And as always, I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to get out there and enjoy nature. Get out there in the woods. Come join the adventure. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.